listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Thanks for being with us. I'm glad to be with you. It is Monday, December the 12th, 2022. If you look at the numbers there, it's just kind of cool, right? 12, 12, 2, 2. And then we'll get to that again, 12, 21, 22, and then 12, 22, 22, which happens to be my birthday. Just numbers sometimes are cool with dates, and this is one of those. So good morning, and welcome to a cool date day on a kind of rather cool Monday. We'll get to the weather very shortly. Thanks for joining us live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're there each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30. It's basically a conversation that we have over, between people in the community, which we're able to facilitate here, unpacking the different events and issues that Sudburyans find important in today. There's no shortage of those. We're going to talk about the chief financial officer of Sudbury, who was going to be working at a distance, and now the city's kind of reneged on that, and I think caved into public pressure, and they're going to be parting ways with the particular candidate, and then looking for another one. That's a huge story in and of itself. There's a viral TikTok video from some people in Cape Real and their pet. Millions of views on that. We'll have a feel-good story there. There's all kinds of stuff going on. The Sudbury Wolves, huge comeback victory for them. Anyways, so lots to cover today. I'm going to be solo. We were supposed to have Meher Kirill joining us for the first time this morning on the show, which was something that we were planning for quite some time. But apparently looked like they were doing some work outside of his place last night. He lives in a very busy part of town and was not able to get any sleep, and so will not be able to be on this morning. Hopefully we have our comments working this morning. I'll just check in there. And so we're live also on Facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube.com/Sudbury News. If you comment there, I should be able to, and I can see your comments. So Stacy, good morning. Glad to have you with us. So feel free to comment, like, share, follow, subscribe, all of those things. One thing I noticed that, my wife still can't follow this show for some reason, Sudbury News on Facebook. Facebook says she's following it, but then when I go on, she's not there. Also, a colleague at work, I said that too. I said, Facebook seems to be doing some nefarious things with my page for some reason, not allowing people to follow it or like it. And it's true. I went to find, she goes, I'm following you. And she showed me on her phone. So it says following. And I went to my followers and I said, hey, let's see if I can find you. And she wasn't there. So somehow, we should be up to about 20,000 followers by now, but it's just making it excruciating even to get to 5,000 just to see what Facebook, for some reason, I don't know if it was something I said, something I did, the way I style my hair, my glasses. I don't know. Facebook seems to stop people from liking or sharing. And if I showed you, many of you who are on right now, it still says that you're just invited, but you're not following or you liked it. And I can't see how you come on every single day on the show and you still haven't liked it or followed it. It just doesn't make any sense. And so I'll show you it if I get a chance today or at some point. Good morning. Good morning, David. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, Shane, yes. You're over on YouTube. Cool. Nice. And Stacy, the shadow bans. Yeah, Facebook shadow bans. Exactly. Well, I must have been shadow banned for like months, almost since the beginning. Because, yeah, I notice sometimes we get 20 followers in 2 days. And then it goes, yeah, you're right. So I've been in and out of Facebook jail, I guess they call it. Not sure why. I guess they have algorithms. If I say, a lot of people on social media, they'll just avoid saying certain words. But why should I have to do that? Like, why should I have to not say a certain word when someone's driving and they're listening on the radio and I just almost just skip words and stuff. It makes me sound incoherent. I at least like to explain myself, So I'm not going to do that kind of code word thing. This means that means this, just so some monitor at Facebook who has the magic wand can shadow ban or delete an account. I just don't understand it. To me, that's not fair. That's not all inclusive. You're all inclusive, everything. That's not all inclusive if I'm not included to the party, So I'd like it to be all inclusive. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Stacy's saying it's a certain thing that I said at a certain point that certain people didn't like. So anyways, no, thanks for being with us. Make sure to like, share, comment, all that stuff. It won't do anything because Facebook won't allow you to like or follow, or at least it'll tell you that you are. But on my end, it actually isn't doing that and it doesn't show the numbers. But yeah. So let's get right into stuff today. I digress in some ways. We're streaming on CKLU. We're live on CKLU on the radio. We're on social media, at least for now, until I say something I didn't realize I said. And then I guess, until that, I guess. I don't know. I don't really understand this stuff. I just think that we should be able to have a show, talk about the news, which we do. That's all we do. We're just unpacking news. We're not doing anything other than that. So I can't see why the news isn't shadow banned. If we are, we're just going through it and then discussing it, I guess, maybe that's the issue. Maybe we can't discuss the news. I don't know. I don't understand sometimes, but it is what it is. Let's get right into some of the local weather, local sports, the headlines that we got today while my Facebook continues to freeze on my main screen. Not sure why it's doing that. It just is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're communicating with me. It's like Close Encounters of the Third Kind with that iconic song there where they got the lights going on. Facebook is sending me a message by continuing to freeze my feed. I have no idea. Anyways, but we're going to get right into it regardless of anything that's going on electronically, because this is your show on your station, 96.7 FM. We'll be back right after this with some weather and the show after my complaining. Here you go. Yeah, I couldn't stop trying to continually try to fix my frozen Facebook on my main screen. That's why I read your comments, because my eyesight isn't the greatest in the world. So I am able to look at my monitor and read the comments, but when it's frozen, it doesn't really work. So I see you. Yeah, Shane, you are on. Stacy is on YouTube now. Cool. You made the switch. But I don't think it was freezing for all y'all, but freezing on my end, it does that from time to time on my own feed. But anyways, weather today in Greater Sudbury, -11, feels like -20. Yeah, so if you're out there, you already felt the cold, and does feel like -20. Humidity is 89%. Today, though, you can expect mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of flurries this morning, clearing near noon, wind up to 15 kilometers. high -6, wind chill -18 this morning, and -11 this afternoon. And as always, this time of year, all through the winter, you can expect a low UV rating. Remember, there used to be a hole in the atmosphere there, what they call it? Now they don't talk about it anymore. And that's when the UV index came out, the UV rays, because there was a hole in the sky. Anyways, but we still have the UV index thanks to that, which is great. I wonder if the hole's still getting bigger or if it's gone. Don't hear anything about that. Acid rain too. What happened to acid rain? Anyways, these are the questions I asked myself. Tonight, clear. Wind up to 15 kilometers an hour. Low -12. Wind chill -10. This evening, -17 overnight. Tuesday, increasing cloudiness early in the morning. Wind up to 15 kilometers. High of -5. Wind chill -18 in the morning. And -10 in the afternoon. As always, the UV index is 1 or low. Your long range forecast here. It looks like Tuesday's not available. We just said what happens tomorrow, according to the weather predictors. Wednesday, sunny, -8. Nice. Gotta like that. Moderate temperatures, sunny, my kind of weather. Thursday, chance of flurries, -3. Probability of precipitation is 40. Friday, much of the same, only this time 60% chance of flurries, high of -1. Saturday, kind of the same, high of -3, same with Sunday. So looks like there's a chance of flurries all the way from Thursday through Sunday, but that's, again, the end of the week, and you never know until it happens. It's just the way that it goes. But here's a look at your satellite with a lot of clearing. I guess the powers that be hear me ranting all the time of very little clearing in the Northern Ontario, in Northern Ontario, period. But it looks a lot clearer these days, especially just right around where, we are, all the way from Moosonee down to Sudbury, although Sudbury southward is totally cloudy, and that's why it's going to be a mix of sun and cloud. But there you have it. There is your weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Lands on our Sudbury.news Facebook page. We'll be back with a little bit of sports. Sudbury Wolves, Sudbury Cubs, right after this. All right. Sudbury Sports brought to you by SudburySports.com. That is Randy Pascal's website where he reports on all local sports. If you want to catch all the latest, greatest in sports, you just head over to SudburySports.com. And that Sudbury Sports guy, Randy Pascal's got everything you need to know and more. Well, beginning with Friday's game, the Bulldogs, they had their the Shoresy jerseys, and they were raising some money for a good cause, and it was a great night, and the jerseys looked great. They got off to a early 2-0 lead. Everything looked like it was spectacular, and then the carpet came out from under their skates, and they ended up losing the game 4-2 against the Saginaw Spirit. And it was interesting too. It was like Saginaw Spirit's loaded with really good players, and it was like they were sleeping or something for the first part of the game, and all the commentators were like, what's going on? This something doesn't seem right. But that changed after the first period, and they showed their true colors. Anyways, Saginaw Spirit beating the Sudbury Wolves 4-2 on Friday night. But then the next day, Sudbury Wolves go down to Barrie, and they're losing 4-0. Crazy. And they end up coming back and tying the game late in the third period and then winning in overtime. Spectacular game. And this, I don't even know if I want to admit what happened. But anyways, I had to go to dinner with friends. And So I'm out for dinner and I got the radio and I'm monitoring the Wolves game because I have to make sure that it's on CKLU and there's no problems and troubleshooting if there's ever a problem. So I got my laptop there and if there's a problem, I'll deal with it. But I'm also at dinner with friends. Well, the dinner's ending and I got to go home, but I'm trying to time it so that way I can get home, and I live a half an hour away from these friends. So I'm like, okay, I got to give myself a half an hour to get home. And I get in the car, because you're leaving and you don't want to be rude because you're not rude and you got good friends you're saying goodbye to, and there's always something else you have to say, before leaving. And anyway, so I finally get in my car, throw my stuff in, turn the radio on as I'm driving. There's 8 minutes left in the game. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there better be some fighting and there better be some, a lot of icings, a lot of whistles, maybe some broken glass, game delay, because, I'm not going to get home in time. And I might have to I'm strategically thinking of the Tim Hortons I could stop in on and use their Wi-Fi, because all I have to do is make sure that the game, if there's a problem, I deal with it. Also, when they're done the game, I have to put it back to the regular programming on CKLU. Anyways. So by this time it's 4-3 and I'm like, I'm not going to get home. And the Wolves score with, barely any time remaining in the game. And I'm like, oh, thank you. It gives me more time. Cause now if no one else scores before the end of regulation, it's going to go to overtime. It's going to give me extra time to go home and maybe even a shootout. Well, happens halfway through the overtime, we score, we win the game, and I'm in my mind, I'm so far away from my house, and I'm like, well, they're going to talk a little bit about the game afterwards, going to give me a little time to get home. So it did. I just was able to sit down in my house, sit down with my laptop as they're ending, and it was perfect timing. So if it wasn't for the late goal and the overtime and the way the timing worked out, it was weird. It was like the planets were aligning with me and the Sudbury Wolves there. But anyways, that was an awesome game. And another thing that ended up happening through that was the starting goalie was able to get his first ever OHL win. So Nate Krawchuk, this is from the Sudbury Wolves. Congrats on your first ever OHL win. He is holding the puck. You get to keep the puck whenever you have a milestone like that. It was really cool because David Bowen had the call of the game, and he had some really great games in the OHL as well. He only came up for a few, but when he did, he beat the Ottawa 67s, I remember, which were the number one team in the league. And he's called up from the minors to play. A lot of times not much is expected of the goalie when they come up from the minors. And no one could beat the Ottawa 67s, but David Bowen was able to backstop them to a victory, and then got another victory too, and I think even a shutout, which is cool. So he was calling the game, so it was kind of neat. He understands how that feels to have these milestones in your career. First ever OHL win for Nate Krawchuk of the Sudbury Wolves, so that's pretty cool. And on a high note as well, our Sudbury Cubs, they land their 9th straight win with Friday's game against the Powassan Voodoos. 4-1 was the final, and they're on a 9-game winning streak. They are one of the best teams in the CHL in all of Canada in their division, and so Sudbury Cubs totally having an amazing season. Now I was able to have go out for a one-on-one, first time ever, with Dario Zulich the other day. I believe it was Friday before these games, and he was talking about how there's some people in town, some media that is trying to make a rivalry between the Cubs and the Wolves somehow, that Dario is concerned that the Cubs are getting more fans and somehow taking away some of the revenues from the Sudbury Wolves. And they're asking him if he's concerned about this, whatever. And his response was the same as what mine would have been. It's like, as if, like, that's not even, of course, he's totally ecstatic that the Cubs are having that kind of a season, and the Cubs will never get the kind of crowds that the Wolves get. It just doesn't happen. It's just not the same. However, it didn't stop some local media trying to drum up some kind of controversy or something like that. And I just have to say, I was really impressed with meeting with Dario. He impressed me a lot. Well, now I'm going to say this next thing. It's going to sound like I'm narcissistic or something, but he reminded me of me a lot. He's very open-minded. He tries, he takes risks. He's not in it for the money. I really appreciated that when he came right out and said everything that he does isn't for the money. It's for the love of the city and for the, what he got into the whole idea of the sporting thing to really bring the community together. He said, I have things already I have what puts food on my table already. I have businesses that are putting food on my table. I don't need this in order to make money. I just don't. If anything, it's a huge risk. And I believe that because it's true. Why would he, other than for the love of it? And we talked about some really cool ideas that he has for the future as well. And there's some really exciting things coming down the pike with Sudbury Wolves Sports and Entertainment Group that we get to look forward to. So anyways, that was my story and trying to get home with the Wolves game and my meeting with Dario. Prior to that, I was super impressed, and hopefully we'll be meeting again and talking about some possibilities with Sudbury Wolves Sports and Entertainment, and really trying to promote what it is that's the entertainment side of sports and get people out and really get involved. So this has been Sudbury Sports, brought to you by that Sudbury Sports Guys website, sudburysports.com. You can catch everything Sudbury Sports there. And we'll be back with some news headlines and a lot of comments that I'm getting really behind on as I see you're commenting here. So we'll be back right after this. Yeah, and we are back, and we'll see if I can get to some of your comments here. I know a lot of them are probably to do with the, what we were talking about in real time, and get the stories ready to go here, what we're going to be talking about. And there you have it. We're ready to go. You can see what we're going to be starting with, but I'm just going to check in some of your comments and see if I can't get my my Facebook page up and running here. See if it's still on the stuck mode. Yeah, we have quite a few of you on today, so thanks for being with us. I just want to say we really appreciate this is your conversation, so make sure to just chime in anytime with your suggestions, your thoughts, or your comments, because they're more than welcome. This is a place where we don't shut people down. If you have any kind of position on anything, we'll share it and we'll unpack it. You're welcome in this conversation because, again, this is your conversation. So speaking of that, let's see what we missed. All kinds of stuff. Okay, yeah, so I was on a rant about Facebook a little earlier, and Stacy was chiming in on how she's in jail too. I was saying I don't know what I said at some point on the show, but it made someone at Facebook not happy to be able to kind of, I guess, teach me a lesson. I don't know what they do there. I guess they teach people lessons if you don't say certain things the way they, I guess, would appreciate if you would say something. I don't know. They don't never message you. I wish they would send you a message and say, you said this, you shouldn't say that. And I'd go, okay. Oh, I didn't realize that was one of your things. So, and then I wouldn't say that again, but I don't know what it is. I wish I did. I wish they would communicate. Amazing for a platform that's supposed to allow everyone to communicate. The platform itself doesn't communicate at all with anyone that's using it. But I just think that's interesting. Good morning. Never change, brother. Oh, thanks, Jerome. I appreciate that. And Miles says, acid rain went away. Oh, okay, with certain regulations. So I guess they solved it. Acid rain is totally gone. And the hole in the, whatever, in the ozone layer. There you go. Sometimes you have a brainer. There wasn't a hole in the ozone. Remember that? What happened to that? Is it still there? Is it getting bigger? Is there no ozone layer now? Is it fixed? Did they put some red green duct tape on it? I don't know. These are the questions I wonder about. But we were supposed to be very afraid of it, and then it just kind of went away. Monday, have a great day, everyone. Yes, Diane, thank you. Good morning, Brian. Watching on Facebook now, perfect. Everything looks normal to me. Yeah, I think it was fine for everyone. It was just me that was freezing up on my end. I'm positive about that. So thanks for chiming in. First story of the day, as we have quite a few of those stories. Sudbury new CFO won't live in the city or province. CBC News, CBC's newest senior city staffer won't be living in the greater city of Sudbury. So lots happened over the weekend, right? So this was the story from CBC, but the city announced last month that it hired Haley Pinkson as its newest director of finance and chief financial officer. What the city didn't mention at the time was that Pinkson won't be moving to Sudbury, but will instead be working remotely on a permanent basis from her home in Alberta. There we go. And comments continue to come in, so I keep on top of that. It's not a human that censors us. Oh, okay, yes, algorithms. Well, I wish the algorithm would send me a message at least. The non-human. If there is a hole, I'm sure whatever is spilling out of China and India doesn't help. There you go. See, we just don't know. There is, a lot going on. I think, Karen, you're referring to a lot of these, measures that North America has to adhere to, but the hugest contributors to pollution in the world don't do it. And so really, what good does it do, really, in a lot of ways? Do I have the solution for it? No. But is it a fact? Yes. So back to the new hire of the CFO of the community of Greater Sudbury, working from Lethbridge, Alberta, I believe. So right after that, the Northern Ontario CTV newly hired Sudbury CFO who won't relocate is out. After backlash in Sudbury over the new chief financial officer's location, the city is cutting ties and resuming the search for a new candidate. So if you have the credentials or feel you have the credentials to be the chief financial officer of the greater city of Sudbury, this is your opportunity. You might be able to get the position if you live in the city. They're making new they're going to make an amendment to the job posting, making it mandatory to actually live in the city if you are the chief financial officer. I wonder how much we had to pay her out. Oh, good point, Brian. That is a good point. I was listening to CBC, as I often do on the way in. I'm always like, man, I got to record this stuff, and I could just do a show based on what they talk about in the morning, play their clips, and then give some extra insight or maybe an alternate view. That in and of itself would be an amazing show. But anyways, I digress. They had the press conference with our new mayor addressing this very thing. And in that press conference, which I had a lot of thoughts about, the reporter actually asked that question. What's that going to cost now? Like, there must be some kind of legal implications. You can't just hire someone and then fire them. Like they didn't do anything wrong. In the job posting, it said you could probably work from home and it's fine. And they hired her and she said, well, I'm not moving to Sudbury. Are you sure that's okay? And they said, yeah, no problem. Are you sure? Yep. Okay. And then it comes out in the media and then people are like, whoa, what's going on? And then, the new mayor says, well, I wasn't part of this hiring process. So I'm going to kind of take care of this. And we had a conversation with her and she wouldn't move to Sudbury. So we're going to have to let her go. And so now she goes, well, wait a minute. I'm going to have to see a lawyer on this because this isn't right. You can't just hire me and then fire me. So Brian asks, what do you think the cost will be to pay her out? And that's true. There's going to have to be some, and he was asked that in the press conference, and he said he didn't know. He didn't know a lot of things about things, but he did make the decision to kind of cut ties. We won't know what the cost will be to the taxpayer about all this stuff. And I kept asking myself, so at the end of the day, what would I have been happier with? Allowing her to work from home and be the chief financial officer, or knowing that by doing this and then, kind of going back and trying to make a wrong a right, what are the costs going to be? And are the costs worth it for, letting her go to, what it would have been to just let her work, or maybe just fill out, I don't know how long a CFO, like once you're hired, you're there forever until you go to a new position. Is it just for a certain amount of time? I don't know. So again, comments are coming in. Good morning, Julia. Nice to see you on. Yes. And I'm glad you used the sunny emoji because it could use all the sun we can get. Oh yeah. So I can't look at the comments here, unfortunately. Okay. I didn't. So here is Shane saying about my comments about Dario Zulich, that he doesn't dislike Zulich personally, but I'm sure he won't be my friend. I just find it odd to see wealthy business owners who build unaffordable housing, no less. Okay. And again, when you're in business, you're going to take all kinds of flack for things you do. And again, we talked about that too. I really felt for him. He was telling me about a lot of the things he hears from people, a lot of things he feels in the media that are said about him. And I felt for him because I do know what it's like. You ever hear that term or the saying, no bad deed or no good deed goes unpunished? If you ever do have something you do. Now he's a builder. He's he's in the commercial real estate. They also do residential real estate, and you have to make money somehow. They're in construction. So there's a business that goes along with that. Has he ever made an unethical decision? I would say probably yes. He would be the first to admit that. Is he perfect? No, he's not, right? So, but at the same time, he was talking about what he wants to do with Greater Sudbury and elevate it in a lot of ways. Karen here, I think your comment is on Facebook. So they aren't looking for the best person for the job as much as they'll take what they can get from here. All jobs have a 3-month probation period. That's true, right? So they might have been able to get through that, but then they would have had to come up with a real reason to let her go after the 3 months. And if she still felt that wasn't right and she knew there was a media, and public pushback, she could still have an argument against, the city and say it's a wrongful dismissal, I would think. Okay, perfect. I got Shane. It's just kind of hard to read comments from YouTube. That's the only downfall from that. I got to read it on my little screen. No problem. Yeah, I guess he could do more for the homeless is what your point is. Find another way, Zulich. You have options, homeless or not. Do not. That's true. But saying for taxpayers, fines, and asking it from homeless people, but taking taxpayer funds from homeless people, that is the problem here. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure. Maybe at some point we can get some clarification personally on what you're referring to. What I remember back in the day, I was with a place called Foyer Inner City Home of Sudbury. Great. It used to be just called Inner City Home of Sudbury. And I was there for 20 years. And I remember we'd do food drives and stuff. And he would always donate a vacant building for us to do our food sorting and stuff in. Just things like that. And I remember another just opportunity I had to meet his brother, which they worked together in the same business. And I was with the CFIB, and that is it's call it the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, and we collect a membership fee every year to be able to lobby the government on behalf of small business. It's like a union for small business, and it's an alternative to the Chamber of Commerce. And anyways, I went to meet with his brother, and I said the membership fee, blah blah blah. Brother barely said a word to me, and I went back and I put the information into the computer, and I noticed he doubled the membership without me even asking or anything. He just doubled it for me. And those are the only two interactions really I had with the family or the business. So those were just personal. And then just going out for a coffee with Dario the other day, he's never met me. I've never met him, never really exchanged pleasantries or whatever. We just never really got it. We've been in the same circles. So anyways, and then just hearing from him things that went along with his nature and his personality were very positive. And his looking at business and giving back to community. Now, can you do more for the homeless? I'll even mention it, when I meet him again, I'll say I had one person that is on the show regularly who mentioned that something about the homeless and doing whatever. And this was a critique they had. And it might be the first time that he's hearing that. I have no idea, but I'll let him know. And he's very open. All you have to do is go to a Wolves game and he'll be going up and down the different levels, and you can actually approach him. I would encourage you, Shane, to just reach out to him yourself. Go to a Wolves game, and he's easy to spot, obviously, and say, yeah, actually, AJ Walsh on his show encouraged me to come and just tell you this personally, and really just talk to him. He's that approachable. Anyways, we were talking about the new CFO here. So Miles is saying, or things you don't do. He's got lots of cash, not willing to contribute yet to an arena. Okay, so there you go. So lots of stuff with Dario getting our conversation here. So he's is vying for taxpayer dollars and taking it from homeless people. Okay, yes. I thought I already read that, but again, maybe it's coming in doubly. Yeah, I think looks like your comments might be coming in 2 times. But yeah, so that's that. I would say just encourage anyone who has an issue with Dario. He's very approachable. You can basically ask him to go for a coffee with you and see how that goes. That's all I did. And of course, he's seen the show and he knows, a little bit behind the scenes. I could say I work with the Wolves and whatever and the radio, but we've never met before, and he was totally open to that. So I'm not sure about the new CFO, position. I also thought, is there nobody in Sudbury already that's qualified for this? Do we have to go from out of town? When we got Brian Bigger, he wasn't even from Sudbury either, and he became our chief financial officer. Why does it need to be someone who's not from Sudbury? We have 0 people who are qualified here in the city. I don't know. It's just, to me, I don't know. Maybe that's normal for municipalities to just put it out there, and whoever's the most qualified, wherever they come from, that's going to be the case again. So whoever's the most qualified, they're going to hire. But this time, one of the stipulations is they have to relocate to the city at least, like our former mayor, Brian Bigger, did. Okay. All right. So Shane said you tried to friend Dario, but he refused. Okay. Or he just didn't accept it, right? Okay. There you go. So I would just encourage, anybody, anyone in his, like, again, and I could be a critic too, but I just personally don't have any knowledge of anything or whatever to criticize. I just don't personally. And if I did, I would, like I do. That's just my own personal experience. And that's all I can speak from, right? As anyone who's commenting is speaking from their personal experience as well. And And maybe I'll have to look into more of the whole, was he nefariously trying to get taxpayers' money? I have no idea about that, but all I know is that when I met with him, he goes, I don't even care where this new arena goes. It's just we need a new arena. I don't care where it goes. I was donating the land, and that was fine, and then that got all whatever red tape, and he's being accused of all kinds of stuff, and that's what he told me. But he's fine. Build it downtown, build it on the moon. Just build a new arena. You know what I mean? Just get it done, because the Wolves need a new arena, which they do. They're the longest running OHL team in the OHL who does not have a new arena. That is just a fact. And then we talked about the difference between a refurbished arena, a retrofitted arena, and a new arena. And we talked about if you go into the old arena and you start trying to make it up to modern standards, it's like doing at home doing renovations. Once you start taking things apart, there's more work that needs to be done. You start saying, oh, now this needs to be fixed. Now that needs to be fixed. And once you start taking it apart, it's sometimes a lot harder to do than just starting from scratch. And that's just the way it is. And what are we? The arena is 1951, for crying out loud. I mean, we're in 2022 now, 73 years or 71 years old. The arena, that's pretty old for an arena. If you look at arenas anywhere around the world, you'd be hard pressed to find an arena that caters to the same type of population and the same type of, sports and shows that it has to put on that would be as old as that. I can guarantee you that'd be really, really hard to find. So Sudbury's got to do something to get a new arena, and Dario, bless his soul for getting in there and trying to do something as a business owner, and trying to make this happen. And what he's done with sports in town, I mean, is amazing. Like, he's brought it all together. You got the Spartans, brought professional basketball to town, and then with the Wolves, and then trying to make it all kind of together, seamless, make it an experience for everybody. So I think there's a lot of ways we can get that new arena made, and could be fundraising, exactly, but not taxpayers or homeless people living in poverty, for sure. Cool. So again, I can't really read. I could read it a little bit easier on the big screen, but it only gives so much of your comment there. If you wanted, Shane, I think Facebook is working fine now. If you wanted to go there, it's a little easier to read comments. Brian says, most big jobs, you sign a contract, and we have seen this in the past, just paying crazy amounts. And that's back to our comments on the CFO of Sudbury, for sure. I got the heebie-jeebies from the press conference when the mayor really didn't know. And the one reporter asked if they could have a ballpark, an idea of how much this would cost the city. He wouldn't say even a ballpark. He said, I just don't have any understanding. But as he's working with the new council and the new, the hiring committee, HR, that's an HR thing. He said a lot. So it's just, I don't know. To me, I don't know what would be better, to just kind of cut ties and start fresh and do it right the first time. Or are we doing the wrong thing now by, she was already hired and now there's going to be a lawsuit, or there's got to be a payout of some kind. What is that going to cost the city? I think that's just what needs to be answered. And I think at the end of the day, it unfortunately goes along with the black eye that Sudbury's taken. Now maybe they have two black eyes by now. I have no idea. Maybe a broken arm. So we can't build an arena. We're building $100 million library downtown instead. We're the only publicly funded university of its stature in Canada that's gone bankrupt. I could go on and on. There's just so many things the city has that aren't good. Let's just say they're not good in the terms of public relations with people. There's just so many black marks on us as a city. There needs to be something that everyone can say, you know what? Yes, that is, and even a new arena is going to have critics though. If you really look at, like, I have people that are close to me and my family that are like, wait, why do you have to tear down like a landmark, a Sudbury landmark? It's a historical building, is the Sudbury Arena. So there's a lot of people that are on that side as well. So you can't please everyone all the time. But I'm just saying, for the majority of the public, it just seems like Sudbury needs some really good PR, and that comes with really good decision making and really good projects that everyone can get on board with. Then, we can heal from our black eyes. So Karen is saying, what's wrong with a new library? Some of us don't give a flying fig about sports. That's right. Exactly. So what is wrong with a new $100 million library in downtown Sudbury? I don't know. How many people go to libraries these days? What does that mean for all the other libraries that are servicing Levac, Onaping, Cape Real, Lively, Coniston? What's going to happen to those libraries? Do you see those continuing if we build a mega library downtown? Do you see them keeping those going and all the upkeep in the costs and all the jobs that they have? Or do you think they'll amalgamate and just have one super library downtown? And now we're talking about, availability, accessibility, people getting to the library that actually use the library. There are people in these small communities who actually use the library. Now that you build this really big one downtown, are there going to be more users for the library because it's big and it's nice? These are the questions I'm asking. So that would hopefully answer that question, if it was indeed a question. Priorities about life-sustaining things would be good too. Yeah, I agree with that. It's from Stacy. Really good things that go along with, some basics of life. We don't need much in order to live, and the city could get on board with that. If taxes are too high and people lose their home with the economic trajectory regarding the housing market, who will be paying these expensive municipal fees? Priorities matter. I just don't think the planners were on the ball. So again, right? That's the thing. The library would take taxpayers' money, and you could say, well, the new arena would take certain taxpayers' money also, but there's paying. It also has a business model where it could pay for itself, an arena, because unfortunately yourself, and there are people who don't care a flying fig about sports, but more people care a flying fig about sports than they do about libraries. That's the truth. And more people are willing to pay $25-$30 for a ticket to go see sports and aren't willing to pay anything for a library and expect, if anything, their books to be free and everything to be free, because that's the way libraries need to be, free. And if that's the case, who's paying for it? You and me. You and me are paying for the library. And that's just the case. So does that make sense? So let's say it was free. The library was free to build. We put a few branches over some sticks, and we made a lean-to library, and it was free to make. We all volunteered, went downtown and made it. It would still then cost taxpayers money to pay for everything that goes along with the library, ongoing costs. So not only are we paying $100 million to begin with, then we have to pay the ongoing cost because it doesn't bring in any money. It doesn't bring in any money. It only costs money. So as from a business perspective, which the city is a business, not just to me, there's a lot to be questioned there. So yeah, the idea of sports, you could like it, hate it, leave it, love it, but it makes money. Like it pays for itself at least. So there's that. Also, Stacy, small dollar income jobs won't be enough. Yeah, that's true. We have a lot of minimum wage jobs, right? We always talk about we're creating jobs, lots of jobs coming, but they seem to be in the service sector, a lot of minimum wage jobs, small income jobs at the arena, not enough to pay for the cost of living. That is true. If you're going to put tax dollars for jobs, it should be jobs that are sustaining the cost of living. Like miners, exactly, for sure. Now, these are bigger decisions too, like the economy. Like for me to have a small business where I'm a restaurant and I'm just going to go and pay somebody $30 an hour to be to wait on people, my business won't be sustainable because it also functions in the ecosystem or the economy of a greater economy as well. And so there's lots to economics than just we should pay people more. Like that also has to then be thought of. It's like the shoulder bone's connected to the whatever bone. Everything's connected in the world. And so sure, we would love to have a more, to be paid more for what we do. And you can go out and start a business today. Like nothing's stopping us from going out and starting a business and paying people more than what the industry is paying them and see what happens. See if you're able to do that. And if you are, then you're a great example to other people on how to actually to go out and live that kind of a way, to lead by example. Myself as a entrepreneur myself, and knowing that how it's not easy to run a business. These are the things you have to keep in mind, right? You want to pay someone more, but can you? That's the thing. A lot of people think small business owners are rich. That's always been something that's perplexed me for many, many years. Because you have a business, you have money, and you don't realize all of the problems that you have because you have a small business. When I was in business, a lot of times I made less than my employees. I made zero many months. I would make zero. And if anything, my house was on the line. So I went to the bank and got funding, and I had to put my house up as collateral. So I had everything to risk and everything to lose. And then I would have employees say, you're not paying me enough. You're not paying me enough. And I understood I couldn't afford to pay any more as a business owner. I was making zero. And I would sit down with my employees and I would show them my books. And I would say, I'd even show them my bank loan. I was very transparent of what I had to do in order to have this business start up. And I said, at least you're guaranteed your paycheck at the end of every day. I'm hoping that 10 years from now, this business will actually start making me money 10 years from now. All this work that I'm putting in. So we need to really, really get the full picture of things and understand how everything is connected and what things really mean. It really does help us in our worldview, let alone our opinions, even on local issues. I went to a comedy show last night, and the city was the brunt of the joke. A zombie-filled movie set in a town. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So Shane is here now on Facebook. Oh, no, this is, it's Stacy. So get rid of organizational spending. That doesn't help anyone. Just duplication of services to help, yet people are still hungry. Homeless or dying? Seriously. People make money to help. Where is the actual help? This is the problem. Structural corruption and an organizational peak. Yes, and that's very governmental, right? Like these organizations are getting paid through government money, through our tax money. Just recently, $500,000 was given to RESO Access, right? And that's the very thing that crossed my mind was, is $500,000 actually going to help this problem? Is it? I want to see. So in a year from now, I'll see if that $500,000 actually helped. Because you throw money at things, it doesn't necessarily result in results. What you got the last word today, Stacey? I was always Stacey, never Shane. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just my eyes. Sorry about that. Begins with the same letter, which throws me off. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We didn't get a chance to go through all the headlines. We were back and forth between the CFO, Dario Zulich, and a lot of our spending habits in the city. So, but thanks. It was still a great conversation. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. And be with us same time, same place tomorrow while we'll have another conversation. We'll be joined by Billy then. So thanks again, everyone. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great Monday and ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.